Okay, so we've got our PCB files all zipped up. We're going to go to a fab plant of our choosing. There are lots and lots of available options nowadays. Much easier now. People can spin you a prototype. You can test your circuit for as long as it's a reasonable size, within 100 mil by 100 mil for $1 a board, which is ridiculous. Now, you can do a general search on the web for where you get your PCBs manufactured, but we use a company called PCBWay, and what they offer is this lovely quoting facility that will check and quote our board. So, what we're basically going to do is we're going to pass our files up to this website. They're going to analyse our files and decide whether it falls within their capabilities. Because we may have designed a PCB that they can't manufacture because maybe the tracks are too small, or the holes are too small, or there's too many layers to the board, or something like that. So a PCB plant will have the capabilities document, and as you can see up here, you have products and capabilities, and then the very first thing here will be their PCB capabilities. So you check this out, and what this will do is this will tell you the minimums and the maximums that they can provide. So for PCBWay on their standard capabilities, your quick term PCB, we can have up to 10 layers, FR4, which is the circuit board software we use, and it will tell you down here as well that you have your minimum trace and minimum spacing, and we spoke about that, minimum trace, minimum clearance between the traces. So we have to make sure that our products adhere to this if we want to use that service, okay? So here we are with our interface. We know that we're going to be happy with our service, and we need to understand now what the dimensions of our board are. So we're going to quickly pop back here. Easiest way to do this is to place a dimension. And you've got horizontal or verticals. So if I was to place a horizontal dimension here to here. Okay, so I'm about 48 mil there. Now let's place a very vertical dimension. Yeah, and about 22 mil there, yeah? So now I understand the size of my board. So what I'm going to do is, I think that's an 8, isn't it? So what I'm going to put that in is 50 by 25, because they will then bring it down for me, okay? So I come along to my board here, I type in here on 50 millimeters by 25 millimeters. I'm going to go 5 as my minimum order. It's a 2-layer. Well, this is a 1-layer board, so I can change that to a 1-layer for this point. If I put tracks on both sides, then it would need to be a 2-layer board. However, if I want to print text on the other layer, then I still have a 2-layer board. So I will leave that 2-layer, else what's going to happen is they're going to come back and say, you've selected a 1-layer board, but you've given me files that want printing on a 2nd layer. So it's going to generate an exception and delay. So I'll put in a 2-layer. Standard thickness of an FR4 board is 1.6 millimeter. You can easily choose a different one, like 1 millimeter, etc., but it will put your cost down. Okay? So we've put our basics in there. We hit quote now, and it's going to ask us for a little bit more information. Nothing to worry about. There are a lot of options, but most of them are defaults. So my board type, I want the output to be a single pieces. I could. Typically, if I was to build lots of boards, I would place them on a panel. And what that means is one big board, and my board, which is 25 by 50, replicated many times on that same big board, and then either routed with little break-off tabs so I can pop my boards out, or V-scored, where a little circular saw comes in that doesn't quite cut all the way through, and then you can stack them off. Yeah, so there's 2 technologies there, but in this case we do some prototypes. We'll go for simple pieces. It's remember my size, it's remember my 5 pieces. I want 2 layers, FR4. This FR4 TG, what this is the type of service I'm requiring, and in this particular configuration it gives you your minimum and maximum clearances and your minimum hole size and everything like that. If I was to make smaller tracks or smaller holes, I would need to choose a different standard, and it would put my costs up. Yeah? Standard thickness here, the minimum track spacings, etc. Solder mask, you can leave it all. I mean, you could change the colour if you want. You could have a blue solder mask, it doesn't really matter. Some of these options will incur additional costs. Yeah? Okay, so in this particular case here, with my 5 boards, 50 by 25, it's saying that it's going to cost me $5, which is $1 a board, and $20 of postage. So my total cost is going to be $25. Reasonable, don't you think? Reasonable. So in this case now, I'm happy. I want to go ahead. I'm going to hit Save to Cards. Right, and I'm going to agree here. So this is the bit actually that I can't remember. Let me see if I can just go on to something. You will need to set yourself up an account. Yeah, so it's free to do that.
You can't remember.
It's going to take some time. Can you remember yours? Right, let's do a new one. Let's do a new one to...
Probably better that way around because that's what the students have got to do anyway. I'm not a robot, but sometimes I feel like one.
Okay, so we've signed up in a new account and now it's asking for our Gerber files, yeah? So I can come along to that zip file that I created and just drag that little puppy in there and it will upload it. And then I will press submit order here. And what that will do, even though I've submitted my order, I've not paid for anything now, it's gone for a review process. Typically this is an automated process, although sometimes it will have a person the outside. And they're going to open your Gerber files into their software package, and they're going to validate you haven't done anything stupid or something that they can't manufacture. But like I said, they're not going to ever check your product for you. And then if everything is happy, which we will see hopefully very soon, it will show us here that this has been accepted and we can pay for it. And at that point, we'll be able to preview what our design looks like. So typically it's quite quick. If we just refresh, it will go pretty quickly. You might just need to leave it for 5 or 10 minutes. So while we are waiting for that, we can have a very quick talk about the other very important thing that needs to be happening. And that is, obviously when we have this PCB, this might be a good time to